Hi, welcome to VYAPT Growth Series, Season 3, Episode 2. In our growth series today, we have with us Mr. Manojit Haldar, MD and President, Sandvik India region. Mr. Haldar has successfully introduced new manufacturing capabilities, technologies, and solutions to enhance customer experience and operational efficiency. He believes in driving sustainable business growth. Let's hear more from him. Join me to welcome Mr. Manojit Haldar. Hi Manojit, welcome to VYAPT Growth Series. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Pankaj. Good morning to you, and
Good
thank you
morning.
for having me here.
We are going to have an exciting conversation with you, and I'm very curious to learn many things from you. An exciting industry. So I'll start with my first curiosity today. Which growth strategies have been most effective in establishing a strong foothold for the mining equipment and engineering industry?
Oh, okay, so I think first, Pankaj, let me tell you, mining is practically a backbone industry for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
In India, it contributes to less than 3% of the GDP.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at this industry, I think there is a lot of things yet to be done in this country. And in this country, I think mining basically, other than coal, getting into iron ore, getting into different metals, there is a lot of impetus that is being pushed on electrification metals, which is the future of the world. So I think there's a lot of work to be done. Now, what drives this industry is basically our demography. As a country, we are well populated, number one in the country and world. And what is important is we have a very young population. So
True.
everything that is coming up as demand needs mining at the backbone. When we are born, we take medicines. When we want to produce cars, we need mining. When we want to do anything, we need mining, because without these metals, whether it is steel, whether it is iron ore, whether it is even small thing like zinc is
Mm-hmm.
in many of the medicines, so you need to do mining.
True.
So this is very important, not only to understand but to drive growth into the future. What is now you coming to your particular question, what is driving this? To my understanding, one is the consumer demand for any and every type of product in the market.
Mm-hmm.
What is driving the equipments of the mining industry? Basically, I would put it into some segments.
Mm-hmm.
One is the customer propelled. What is customer propelled is what customer wants. Now, when we say customer propelled means the type of equipment they want, the technology they want, that is what drives the industry. How we can use different types of mining equipment, and there are many. There are different things, equipment which are on the surface. There are different equipments which are under the ground and used for different type of mining. So your equipment type and capability differs if it is coal industry or metal industry. So your type of equipment on surface coal is different, underground coal is different. Your type of equipment for metal industry underground is different, metal industry on the surface is different. So it depends on how customer propels this requirement to us. Then I think the second part I would see is like capability driven. What is the capability of every equipment that is coming into the market? What is the capability of the customer and the skill sets available in the country to use these machines? So here I think we have a long way to go, because while the world has different type of equipment, from the smallest equipment to the largest, to the technologically backward to the technologically super advanced equipment, We have to understand where is the capability of the country to absorb what. So can we absorb the biggest technologies? I don't think so. We are still ready for that because we need a lot of skill set. But are we ready to even run the basic machines? I think a lot of gap still remains in this sector in India with respect to skill set to run these machines. Going into future, I think going into future, it will be all, how much the mining equipment organizations are able to create a value chain upstream, downstream. Like what we are trying to do is to move from a very low end type of machinery to a very high end type of machinery, which means getting into today's world, the digitalization world, the automated world of mining. That things is very important. I think
Mm-hmm.
this is what I think, two, three things, what, how the consumer, how the customer, how the capability, and how we integrate the value chain will drive this, and where
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah, so you talked about some of the gaps, and I think there lies the opportunities of the growth,
There is
as how we can minimize the gap and reach to a higher level of growth by adapting to newer technology and other means. Now, while talking about the growth, what is important and pertinent is around the sustainable business growth. So, my second curiosity is around sustainable business growth. How can we drive a sustainable business growth and stay relevant? And are there any emerging trends or areas you foresee driving growth? What you just talked about.
Hmm. So I think, first, to become sustainable, I think we need to look at few pillars.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, One pillar is, where we are. Okay, we were in a different world 25 years, 30 years back. We are in a completely different world today.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see, if I give my example, more than 25 years in the industry. When I joined the industry after my engineering graduation,
Mm-hmm.
cell phone was a is like the biggest necessity. Without the cell phone, you don't. It's like you have an individual is handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for making things sustainable, people have to start understanding, because really a traditional old age industry. It is not the new age modern industry. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so first is we, allow, can we do something to first change the mindset of the people to join this,
Mm-hmm.
and mindset of the people who are already in this industry, because the
Okay.
mindset of the people who are already in this industry needs to first the old ways of working, learn the new ways of working, and keep learning, because technology is going to shift, and without the technological shift, people, especially the younger population, will not be attracted to this industry. Second, I think skill sets. So first is develop the skill sets which are critical to do mining activity today, and also become have a creative skill set to do mining for tomorrow's world.
Mm-hmm.
Then, how, then I would say behaviorally we would need to look at how systematic we can make this process. We are little bit behind, all the big countries like US, Australia, when we really have systematic approach to the work. Systems are changing. So earlier a machine needed a human being to operate it. We are moving to a world where we are introducing machines where you do not need a human being to operate it.
Mm-hmm.
And this technological shift can be seen even in India. We
Okay.
have supplied machines to some companies 15 years back, and
Mm-hmm.
when we are supplying some machines today,
Mm-hmm.
you can, I can give you one small example.
Yeah.
In that example, as you know, mining requires something called drilling.
Mm-hmm.
Drilling, why you drill into the core of the earth, then you blast it, and
Mm-hmm.
you need a person sitting in the drilling machine doing the drilling, and then somebody will putting dynamite into this. And
Yeah.
in a very recent exhibition in Delhi
Mm-hmm.
organized by the Ministry of Mining, we
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated that in one of the Indian mines we have an equipment which can be operated by sitting in Delhi
Mm-hmm.
in a mine under the ground in Rajasthan.
Wow.
So you can imagine where things have changed. So this is
Mm-hmm.
something which is first important for sustainability. Second
Mm-hmm.
important thing for sustainability is, there is a lot of push on green world or green planet and all that is going on. Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
we all know globally there's a lot of talk about scope one, scope two, scope three.
Scope three.
To make
Mm.
ourselves more sustainable,
True.
presently, we are working on scope one. What is in our control? What
Mm-hmm.
we can basically control, which is having our manufacturing units use energy from renewable energy sources, or do something like in Hyderabad and in some of our local manufacturing units, we use solar panels now. We give it to
Mm-hmm.
the grid gives it back. We have started using electric run, trucks and vehicles on and across mining and construction sites. These are very small steps, but it is a step towards achieving something in scope 1.
Mm-hmm.
Sandvik, being a particularly a global organization, we
Mm-hmm.
are very committed to ensuring that we meet our sustainability goals of 2030. Scope
Mm-hmm.
1 is that one. Scope 2 is where we are looking at what we purchase from the suppliers,
Mm-hmm.
purchased energy. So whether we are purchasing steel or normal parts, or I would say hydraulic equipment or pipes, etc., etc., hoses. These suppliers need to be educated so that we can go to scope 2 and achieve them. Another thing what we are looking at to save the environment and make it more sustainable is looking at the technical side of circularity.
Mm.
What is that is, one is the equipment should be given a longer life so that you don't have to produce. So we are doing a lot of rebuilds, remanufacturing, extending the life of the equipment, because when you throw a machine, it becomes waste.
Mm.
What do you do with the waste? You are generating waste. So we have to one thing is you have to reduce waste.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have to look at what in that waste can be recircular, what we can recycle. So we have our own internal targets that there are some materials which we need to recycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like a particular case, Sandvik is a patented having patented carbides for certain tools that we use.
Mm-hmm.
We have our own internal targets to recirculate at least few tons of carbide every year, and we are increasing that. So we have to balance from people's mental point of view, people's skill point of view, balance socio-economic structure, balance the circularity and technical cycles of the sustainable new sustainability part of the world. That will give us more sustainable environment to grow and to make things more exciting. We are working on equipment which are going to be fossil fuel free equipment.
Okay.
So there will so now most of these type of machines run on diesel.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of work globally being done, uh, and we are actually leading the market where we are introducing to the global market battery equipment, similar capacity, similar productive cycles, and run by battery completely. No fossil fuel is being used. So we have introduced it in many parts of the world already, and I'm sure we will soon work on introducing this type of equipment in India also. This is one part of the new thing that is happening,
That's wonderful.
and
Yeah.
of support is required. In automation, we are doing a lot of automation because automation also helps to make things more sustainable. You don't have to put people into areas which are uh, not so comfortable to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a young person is given a choice today,
Mm-hmm.
sitting in office coding I think that is a job they will try to do rather than go under the mine 1 kilometer down in the depths of Mother Earth
Hmm.
and start drilling holes and strike whistles. So we have to bridge that gap. So that is how we are working.
Okay. So, Manojit, you talked in detail around the sustainable measures which the industry is taking, and you also talked around the emerging trends coming in this particular industry. But when you look at the diverse market you cater to, uh, how crucial do you consider the adaptation or localization of products to generate employment here in India? And are there any specific technological advancements that have significantly contributed to the success of this industry over the past few years' time?
See, localization is a concept that has started getting impetus in our country over the last 2 to 3 years. There has been lot of push by the current government on Make in India, but I think the progress was quite slow. There is more impetus in the last few years what we are seeing. Now localization means many things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, One of the most important thing, like you said, if you localize products, yes, you will generate more internal revenue, you will generate more jobs because you have to set up manufacturing units,
Mm-hmm.
you have to set up uh, units to supply these, to manufacture equipment and all this type, which is not very relevant in the country today. I would say in certain segments, in certain companies have taken a lot of step in mining industry,
Mm-hmm.
especially the surface mining, which is the biggest part of mining industry. The
Okay.
impact has been some of the big companies have set up shop here, manufacturing certain type of equipment,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because they are preparing themselves to on some things like skill set to supply good material, because
Mm-hmm.
in the end these technologies are not existent in India. Most
Mm-hmm.
of these companies who are setting up shop are foreign companies from
Mm-hmm.
US and Europe, or even China is coming in and so we don't have any Indian company manufacturing all this type of equipment.
Okay.
Maybe one or two, but not at the real scale or the
Mm-hmm.
real brand image level. So there everyone will look at to source locally. So what will
Mm-hmm.
happen is will increase the capability of the market to produce better quality products. Then
Okay.
they will look for developing the people's skill set to operate and produce this quality of product.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will need to look at what is the market. Are they going to sell in India? Do we have enough volumes to sustain a manufacturing facility? Or
Mm-hmm.
are we ready to not only provide for India but also provide for the world? There are
Mm-hmm.
these things that is going on, and I think a lot of companies are taking steps towards that. From our point of view, Sandvik, again being a Swedish major company in this market, we have also taken steps. As a matter of fact, in last 1 year, we have started manufacturing. We have set up manufacturing unit for making equipment. We had two, three manufacturing units which were making tools,
Mm-hmm.
but now we have set up shop in India, and we are looking at producing few surface as well as underground equipment for construction industry specifically. We have
Mm-hmm.
not yet moved into mining, but I think these are small steps, and we are focusing on the 3 points which I raised. Looking
Mm-hmm.
at source of supply, looking at quality of supply, looking at people, and I'm sure going forward this will become a big thing for us. Let's see how it goes. Technologically, I think once all these three things develop, we will be productive towards quality and people, and I think technology comes in along with that.
So Manojit, you just pitched about that. It's not only limiting to made in India, but it's about making in India and serving the global. That has to be the aspiration as we move forward into this particular industry and have a name. So this was curiosity three. and we talked around various aspects of growth, sustainability, and also on the new technological parts in the industry, primarily from engineering as well as from the tools and the technology point of view. Next round we are going to have is flip round.
Okay.
And
Oh, so it's a good thing, Pankaj. Yeah, Pankaj. So if it is a flip round, so I get to ask a question to you.
true, true.
So basically, one thing I would like to understand from you, I am sure you have interacted with hundreds of leaders in different industries, etc. So what is something, what you think is the fundamental thing that is required for success?
Uh, okay, so it's a nice question. But to answer your question, yes, in my interaction with the leaders in the last 15 years, hundreds of leaders, I think one thing which has been very inherent with the leaders is their belief system, uh, through which they drive purpose and the business objectives. I think that is something which has been uh, with them, irrespective of how the market trends are, how the market is working, what is the kind of projections we have for the years and years to come. I think with the belief system, they have been able to drive within the thin and thick of external conditions of business. And I think that's one thing. If you ask me one thing, I think it's the belief system which has been doing wonders for these leaders, and I'm sure you are also one of them.
Thank you. Thanks, Pankaj. Yeah.
So, Manojit, after this flip round, wherein we get to have a question to the host by the guest, we move on to our fourth curiosity, which is learning on the go. Now, in learning on the go, I would like to ask you a very specific question. You have been in this industry for more than 2.5 decades now. Can you narrate an incident which has been a source of incredible learning for you?
Hmm. So I think, there have been many incidences, but to relate to a particular incident is slightly difficult. But what I can tell you is, uh, we are not a one country, one world system now.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody to develop or grow, I believe that you need to work in multiple environments. You need to work with multiple people. You need to work with multiple cultures,
Mm-hmm.
because one of the very big and important thing today, everybody is talking about diversity, inclusion, equity. But how do you develop this in your body or in your system? Because, and for me, what, why I said this is important is because since DNI is such an important topic today, and it is very important that we are able to listen to different type of people, different people have different thought processes, different ways of working, different understanding, different behavioral pattern to do business. So for me, I have spent some time in Middle East, and during my time in Middle East, that was a time when I was working for a very big organization,
Mm-hmm.
and I was exposed, and it was pretty long time back, almost 15, more than 15 years back.
Mm-hmm.
So during that period, I interacted. My job profile was such to interact with people and do business, do transactions with people all over the world. So people around Middle East, people in Africa, people in Europe, people in Southeast Asia, people in the US. And to my understanding, I have observed, everybody's culture is different. Every company will behave differently. Every, why I am saying this is the US companies, the US culture is completely different from the Swedish culture, or Even in Europe, the Italian and German and Swedish cultures are different. The Japanese culture on the other side of the world is again completely different. Some work on uh, allowing you to speak more and listen more, and some don't allow you to, it's more of marketing. And some part, I think the west, extreme west is more talkative, extreme east is less talkative. Extreme west is more individualized, extreme west east is more teamwork, talk about your team and attend meetings in teams and not individuals. So I think this gave me a lot of perspective in the world to talk to many people, listen to more people, understand how people want to work. India itself is a very diverse country. Let's understand, when you don't have this inside you, it is going to be difficult even in India, because South India and North India is different, East India is different,
True, true.
West India is different,
Hmm.
and they will talk their own language also. Let's understand, since I am in Pune, the common language is Marathi. It
Yeah,
is not, or Hindi or English.
yeah,
Okay, in that job profile, everybody talks in English.
yeah. Hmm.
So this is something important, and because tomorrow's world is becoming more diverse and
Hmm.
the need to inclusivity is increasing,
Hmm.
I think this is some learning which I was able to get long time back,
Hmm.
has helped me a lot to be, where I am today, with a very open mind and very inclusive in my way of working. This is something I think I learned, and I am very happy I learned that.
Yeah, so Manojit, you just talked about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is something which is the need of the hour, and we should have that inclusive sense while we do business across the world, and treat people according to the kind of, actually we should respect the kind of cultures they have. At the same time, we should learn from each other how we can do the business the best way. I think this has been a phenomenal takeaway from you, Manojit. What's a wonderful example you have shared with us. And obviously the kind of narrative which you have shared also on the growth, sustainability, and the part of localization of business which is coming in India for serving the world is really great. Thank you so much, Manojit, for being a part of VYAPT Growth Series.
Thank you very much, Pankaj.
Thank you.